On a balcony overlooking the blooming flowers in the courtyard, a young girl, a young man, and an old man stood around a round table, looking intently at each other. These three were Maribell, Yuki and Johan. It failed, it really failed. This line came out of Maribel's lips in a sad tone. All the while, her face was casual as always. It was expected of her, as it was a part of her plan. Gavan sure is unlucky. What a waste of your efforts he's been. Johan, who sat in front of Maribell, sighed with wine in his hand. Although he didn't really mean it, he did feel some sympathy towards Gavan. After all, just like Johan, Gavan was a member of the 5 Great Elders. Correction, former member of the 5 Great Elders. The miscalculation this time had led to Gavan's complete loss of authority. Gavan was so useless. It's probably because he has stayed in Ingratia for too long that he has become somewhat attached to the king. Or else he would have had full control over the royal family long ago. Don't ask for the impossible. Even us Rossos were not able to influence the central power of Ingratia, let alone Gavan. No, that's not correct. It's a piece of cake to control the core of their power. All we need to do is to kill everyone else and leave one heir and one only. It would be perfect if the child had Gavan's blood in him. I suppose you have a point. Maribell knew the history of bloodshed in that dark era of time, so she thought such a method was fairly mild. In fact, in terms of the amount of blood that would be spilled, this was relatively peaceful, she thought. But to Johan, he wanted to comment that a large nation's security wouldn't be that slacking. Even if she could come up with such an idea, to execute it would not be as simple. However, I am interested in the magical inquisitors. Are you referring to the heathens under the command of the king of Ingratia? Yep, how annoying, how very annoying. They must have been desperate to build up their military just to stand against us Rossos. Well then, what do you think? They seem pretty strong. Gavan has experienced them firsthand and informed me about it. To subjects dominated by her greed, Maribell could share intelligence with them to some extent. Any information obtained by an individual would inform Maribell. That's why she used Gavan as a disposable pawn. She did so to draw out the magical inquisitors to handle the situation, so she could investigate their secret. The incident that led to all of this was the stupid action Gavan had directed at Demon Lord Rimuru. Since Gavan was a count of the kingdom of Ingratia, surely, it would have lured out the magical inquisitors. Maribell had foreseen that. And just as she predicted, she uncovered the secret of the magical inquisitors. The revelation made it apparent. They were merely humans who became magians after absorbing the power of monsters. This was quite unlike Magin Raisin of the old kingdom of Farmus, who had entered a higher state of being through his own training. Due to the repulsive reaction with the monster elements, magical inquisitors even had their self-consciousness erased. To Maribell, they were simply uninteresting toys. However, before they transformed into magians, they still seemed to possess consciousness. Depending on the amount of elements absorbed, they could fight in almost any circumstances. Their strength would be close to flawless as they broke through rank A. That does seem kind of useful, Maribell thought. How terrifying. In order to gain such information, you knew from the start that Gavan's plan would have failed, yet you still permitted it anyway. Not at all. My goal was to raise your credibility. Demon Lord Rimuru would now think that you are worthy of trust. That's... No, even if he didn't ask, he understood. Maribell's goal from the start was to eliminate Demon Lord Rimuru. The magical inquisitors were just a bonus. She wanted Johan to investigate Rimuru. If I were to fail as well, am I going to end up with the same fate as Gavan and be eliminated by her? He wasn't as incompetent as Gavan, yet in addition to this thought, Johan had now gained an unspeakable horror towards Maribell. You gotta be kidding me. I became one of 5 great elders and stood at the top of the 7 seas. How can some child like this? But that was just in his mind, these were words he couldn't speak out loud. Johan returned to the previous topic. Then how about we let the magical inquisitors handle Demon Lord Rimuru? We could frame Demon Lord Rimuru with some crime and... No, that would only anger the Demon Lord. The magical inquisitors may be tough, but they're only so strong. It's impossible for them to stand against the Demon Lord. Such a plan wouldn't work. That's sad to hear. So, our best option is to cooperate with the Demon Lord, after all. Maribell shook her head upon hearing so, dismissing that option. No use, that's no use. Basically, except for grandfather, everyone has had a huge misunderstanding towards the situation, including you. Misunderstanding? Yes, that's right. Humans and demon lords are equal, that's your misunderstanding. Do you know why I proposed to grandfather to eliminate the demon lord? Was it because the demon lord would create a new economic circle, and will threaten us economically? Yes. But that was simply on the surface level. The real reason is that we can do nothing about the demon lord. Johan was deeply afraid of the young girl, Maribell. And just now, Maribell responded with a face of displeasure. Feeling uneasy, Johan hurried her to continue her explanation. What does that mean? Demon Lord Rimuru's military might is truly frightening. What do you think will happen if this demon lord uses military force to negotiate with us? That would be. Upon hearing her explanation, Johann finally realized the severity of the matter. In this world, due to the common threat of monsters, kingdoms seldom battled amongst themselves. Even if there were to be a dispute, the council would intervene to mitigate. The nation with greater economic capabilities normally spoke with greater impact. However, even for large nations such as the Old Farmus or Ingratia, their military alone would not be able to stand against the combined force of all the council's member states. Moreover, the strength of this nation is not their military alone. To be bound by rules is the equivalent of losing freedom. However, if they were to make the rules themselves, surely, that would mean their nation would not be at any loss, wouldn't it? Even if Tempest decided to follow the rules set up by the council, the future remained unknown. If everyone learned the economic value of the Tempest Federation, the Western nations would be their puppets to toy with. The Demon Lord could achieve domination through peaceful means. Or through military force. Or with economic pressure. The strong nations would have the authority to dictate. That was an unchanging truth. Pathetic, how very pathetic. The council can lay some impressive rhetoric on the negotiation table, but all of it depends on the generosity of the Demon Lord. Time will pass and a new era will begin. Our fate will rest on the Demon Lord's whims when the time comes. That's. Johann understood. He knew this was how things may develop. But the Demon Lord said that he wished to coexist with humans. As he was halfway through his sentence, Johann found Maribell's cold eyes glaring at him. Fools, how foolish, not just you, the same goes for all of the council. What a bunch of idiots. Unimpressed, Maribell began to explain further so that Johann could understand. Even if there hadn't been a problem now, what did the future hold? If humans who had forgotten the threat the Storm Dragon posed pissed off Demon Lord Rimuru. I don't know how long a Demon Lord can live, however, I know that human lives are limited. If we cannot stop the Demon Lord's ambition now, the dream of us Rossos would practically be destroyed. That Demon Lord could always change his mind. It may be a different case for humans, but to expect those with longevity to share the same value as humans, how could something that stupid happen? Maribell explained. So, the idea of cooperating with the Demon Lord, or even exploiting the Demon Lord, are both huge misjudgments. They are impossible. Johann was at a loss of words. Almost as if to pour salt on Johann's wounds, the blood shadow under his command reported back to him through magic communication. The message was that Glenda had been defeated. How is that possible? Glenda was captured. Johann was shocked. Is this true? Even Maribell was unable to hide her surprise. Glenda was praised for her discretion. Maribell was confident that she could survive during any crises. She didn't put her trust in Glenda's personality or anything, but rather on her desire to survive. How unbelievable that cunning fox was. Glenda was one of successful cases of Throsso's secret summonings. Through sorcery, they forced otherworlders to pledge their loyalty to them. They were renowned for their strength and were treated like tactical weapons. And someone as capable as Glenda was not only defeated, but captured. Johann couldn't believe that was the case. He was a mere mortal despite his position among the 5 great elders. Unlike Granbell and Maribell, he could only process human logic. Ignoring Johann, Maribell began to strategize. There's no way we can defeat him, but perhaps I can dominate him. That would have to do. Maribell made up her mind. I'm setting up a trap. A trap? What do you plan to do? Johann had been passive for the most part until now. This was the first time he asked Maribell a proper question. Yes, a trap, Maribell said as she turned to Yuki. Aren't you and your subordinate going to explore some ancient sites with Demon Lord Rimuru? I will set it there. It was not merely a confirmation. It was her order. Yes, Kigali is going, but it may be dangerous. What do you mean? Demon Lord Milim is coming as well, that's why setting up a trap there would be dangerous, Yuki advised. He believed that they should try to win Demon Lord Rimuru's trust this time. The plan needed to aim for the long term. However, Maribell had made her decision. No. Given more time, that Demon Lord would only become more difficult to deal with. That's what my instinct tells me. Yuki, can you prevent Demon Lord Milim from coming? There is no way. They seem to be suspecting me. At this point, if I were to reject her, it would be the equivalent of confessing that I'm the villain. You have a point, then we shall take care of Demon Lord Milim as well. Ah. This is madness. This is not merely reckless, you don't even have any card to play here, Maribell. Yuki listened to Maribell's words in disbelief, while Johann stood up to oppose them. That was only natural. To defeat a single Demon Lord alone was already something to be cautious about. Yet now she wanted to deal with 2 Demon Lords at the same time. This was essentially driving the chance of success down to 0. Yet Maribell was still smiling. We've got to give it all we have and go all out. No, that won't do. Even if I were to give it your all, my subordinates, the moderate clown troupe, they are currently unavailable. Moreover, I'm not sure how strong they are, but they can't help if they are drowned. Yuki's retort was cut short by Maribell. To her, the moderate clown troupe was nothing. No, actually. That was because Maribell had laid eyes on a power much stronger, something that was strong enough to combat the Demon Lord. However, Yuki, I did ask you to get me a certain something from the dragon's nest. That can be useful now. Certain something, could you be referring to that? You want to use that thing? No way. That's something even I can't control. No problem. That thing belonged to Demon Lord Milim anyway, we are just giving it back to her. That's how the plot will go. Demon Lord Clayman kept that thing as his trump card, and it was utilized by the remaining force of his faction. That way, Demon Lord Milim won't get mad at us. This may end up inflicting great harm on humans as well. And? Nothing. Johann brought this up in the hope of changing Maribel's mind. Yet she disregarded it with the wave of a hand. She may have given it some thought if he had some other plan to suggest, but that alone was not enough to pique Maribel's interest. Moreover, Johann couldn't think of an alternative plan anyway. Maribel's plan was therefore finalized.